Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. He looked out at the stars through the big window. The space around them was quiet and peaceful. It was Christmas Eve, and Jake felt happy. His ship carried 50,000 people to their new home on a planet far away. The Liberty was not a warship. It was a colony ship, built to carry families and workers to new worlds. The ship was huge, with many levels full of homes, schools, and shops. Tonight, all those levels were filled with the sounds of Christmas. Jake walked to the control panel, where his officers worked. Kate Williams sat at the weapons station, but there was not much for her to do. They were in empty space, far from any danger. She was a good officer, trained to fight, but tonight she just watched the stars. "Captain, all sections report ready for the Christmas celebration," said Lieutenant Ben Taylor. He was young and excited about the holiday. "The children are getting restless. They want to know when Santa will come." Jake smiled. Even in space, children still believed in Santa. "Tell them Santa knows where to find good children, even among the stars," he said. Down on deck 12. The Baker family was getting ready for Christmas. Lisa Baker put the last decorations on their small tree. It was made of plastic and metal, but it looked beautiful with its colored lights. Her daughter Amy sat on the floor, looking at the wrapped presents. "Mom, when can we open them?" Amy asked. She was 8 years old and could barely sit still. "After midnight mass, sweetie," Lisa said, just like every year. Tony Baker came into their small living room. He worked in the ship's food center, making sure everyone had enough to eat. "The Christmas dinner is almost ready," he said. "We'll have real turkey, not the fake stuff." Amy jumped up and hugged her father. "This is the best Christmas ever." Dad, in another part of the ship, Father Luis Garcia was preparing for midnight mass. The main hall was decorated with stars and lights. Hundreds of families would come to celebrate together. Luis had been a priest for 30 years, but he still loved Christmas. It was a time when people remembered what was important: family, love, and hope. "Father, do you need help with anything?" asked Mrs. Patricia Stone. She was a teacher on the ship, and she helped with many things. "Thank you, Patricia. Could you help me set up the music? The children's choir wants to sing tonight." Patricia smiled. "Of course." The children have been practicing for weeks. All over the ship, people were getting ready for Christmas. In the shops, workers were closing early. In the schools, children were too excited to sleep. In the medical center, Dr. Helen Murphy was taking care of a few sick people. But even she was thinking about Christmas. The Liberty moved through space at a steady speed. The engines hummed quietly, and the life support systems worked perfectly. Chief Engineer Pete Collins walked through the engine room, checking everything twice. He was a careful man who took his job seriously. "How are we doing, Pete?" asked his assistant, Danny Walsh. Danny was only 16, but he was good with machines. "Everything looks good," Pete said. "The ship is running smooth. We should reach the planet in 6 more months." But far away, in the darkness of space, something was watching the Liberty. The alien ship was invisible, hidden by advanced technology. Inside the ship, Admiral Vextar studied the human vessel on his screen. Vextar was a Zephyrian, a race of reptile-like creatures. He had dark scales and cold yellow eyes. He commanded 30 warships, all hidden from human sensors. His species was old and powerful, and they thought humans were weak. "Look at them," Vextar said to his officers. "They are celebrating some primitive ritual. They are soft and weak. This will be easy." His second-in-command, Commander Krelinax, studied the human ship. "Admiral, should we contact them first? Give them a chance to surrender?" Vextar laughed, a harsh sound. "Why? They are just humans. They have no real weapons. 1 ship against 30. They will die quickly. The Zephyrian ships were built for war. They had powerful weapons and strong shields. Their crews were trained soldiers who had fought many battles. They did not understand humans at all. Back on the Liberty, Jake Morrison walked through the corridors. He liked to see his people on Christmas Eve. Families were gathered in their homes, talking and laughing. Children ran through the halls playing games. "Captain!" Amy Baker ran up to him. "Are you going to midnight mass?" "I wouldn't miss it." Jake said, "Are you going to sing with the choir?" Amy nodded happily. "We know 5 songs." Jake patted her head. "I can't wait to hear them." In the tactical center, Kate Williams saw something strange on her screen. There were odd energy patterns in the area, but they were very weak. She thought they might be caused by the nearby star. "Ben, are you seeing this?" she asked Lieutenant Taylor. Ben looked at the screen. "It's probably just solar radiation. The star is pretty active." Kate nodded, but something felt wrong. She had been a soldier for 10 years, and she had learned to trust her feelings. Still, the patterns were too weak to be ships. She decided to keep watching. At exactly 23:47 ship time, Admiral Vextar gave the order to attack. 30 alien ships dropped their cloaking and opened fire. Bright energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked through space toward the Liberty. First weapons hit the ship's shields. Alarms started ringing throughout the vessel. The peaceful Christmas Eve celebration was over. The war for humanity's survival had begun. Jake Morrison ran to the bridge as the ship shook around him. Kate Williams was already at her station, trying to understand what was happening. On the screens, they could see the alien ships surrounding them. "Report!" Jake shouted over the noise of the alarms. 30 enemy vessels, Captain," Kate said. "They're using weapons we've never seen before. Our shields are failing." Jake looked at the enemy ships. They were beautiful and terrible, like metal sharks swimming through space. For a moment, he felt fear. Then he thought about Amy Baker and all the other children on his ship. The fear turned into something else, something harder. "All hands, battle stations," he announced over the ship's communication system. "This is not a drill. We are under attack." The Liberty was about to learn what humans could do when their families were threatened. The Liberty shook as more alien weapons hit the hull. Emergency lights flashed red throughout the ship. The Christmas music stopped, replaced by alarm sounds. Families who had been opening presents ran to emergency stations. Captain Jake Morrison reached the bridge just as another blast hit the ship. Kate Williams was working fast at her station, trying to get the shields back up. Her face was calm, but her hands moved quickly over the controls. "Damage report," Jake said. "Hull breach on deck 7, Kate said. "We've lost 2 shield generators. The enemy ships are all around us." Jake looked at the main screen. The alien vessels were sleek and deadly, like metal predators circling their prey. They were much smaller than the Liberty, but they had powerful weapons. "Can we fight back?" Jake asked. Kate shook her head. "Captain, we have mining lasers and some defensive weapons. But we're a colony ship, not a warship. We can't match their firepower." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Pete Collins was working. Hard to keep the ship running. Sparks flew from damaged control panels. The main power core was still working, but barely. "Danny, help me with this," Pete called to his young assistant. "We need to reroute power to the shields." Danny Walsh crawled under a control panel to reach the power cables. He was scared, but he did his job. Around them, other engineers worked to repair the damage. "How bad is it, Chief?" asked Engineer Lisa Martinez. "Bad," Pete said. "But we're not dead yet. Keep working." Down in the civilian areas, families were trying to stay calm. Lisa Baker held her daughter Amy close. Tony Baker was helping other families get to the emergency shelters. "Mom, what's happening?" Amy asked. Her voice was small and scared. "Some bad people are trying to hurt our ship," Lisa said. "But Captain Morrison and his crew will protect us." Amy looked up at her mother. "Are we going to die?" Lisa hugged her daughter tighter. "No, sweetheart. We're going to be okay." But Lisa wasn't sure if that was true. The ship was shaking more with each hit. She could hear the sound of metal breaking somewhere in the distance. Father Luis Garcia was in the main hall, helping people stay calm. Many families had come here when the attack started. Children were crying, and parents were frightened. "Everyone, please stay together," Father Garcia said. "We are safe here. The crew is working hard to protect us." Mrs. Patricia Stone was helping to organize the people. "Children, come sit with me," she said. "Let's sing some Christmas songs." At first, the children were too scared to sing, but slowly a few brave ones started to sing Silent Night. Their voices were shaky, but they sang. Soon more children joined in. Even some adults began to sing. On the bridge, Jake Morrison heard the singing over the communication system. For a moment, he felt proud of his people. Even in danger, they were finding ways to stay strong. "Captain, incoming message from the alien fleet," said Lieutenant Ben Taylor. "Put it on screen," Jake said. The image of Admiral Vexstar appeared on the main screen. His reptilian face looked cold and cruel. His yellow eyes stared at Jake with no emotion. "Human Captain," Vexstar said, "your ship is surrounded. You cannot escape. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick." Jake stood up straight. "This is Captain Morrison of the USS Liberty. Why are you attacking us? We are civilians, not soldiers." Vexstar laughed. "You are humans. That is reason enough. Your species is weak and primitive. You will be destroyed." "We have 50,000 people on this ship," Jake said, "including children. Let them go, and I'll surrender myself." "Your children mean nothing to us," Vexstar said. "You chose the wrong day to travel through our space." The screen went black. Jake felt anger building inside him. These aliens didn't care about innocent people. They wanted to kill everyone on the ship, including the children. "Captain," Kate Williams said, "they're charging their weapons for another attack." Jake made a decision that would change everything. He opened the ship's communication system so everyone could hear him. "This is Captain Morrison, speaking to all sections of the ship. The alien commander has made it clear that they plan to kill everyone on board, including our children. They think we are weak because we care about our families. They think we will surrender because we want to protect our loved ones." Jake paused, thinking about Amy Baker and all the other children on the ship. They are wrong. We are not weak because we love our families. We are strong because of that love. Today is Christmas Eve, the most important day of the year for many of us. These aliens have chosen to attack us on this sacred day. They have made a terrible mistake. Throughout the ship, people listened to their captain's words. Parents held their children closer. Workers stopped what they were doing to hear him speak. I am asking every person on this ship to help us fight. I don't care if you are a soldier, a teacher, a cook, or a child. We need everyone. We are going to show these aliens what humans can do when they threaten our families. The response was immediate. In the engine room, retired military officers came forward to help Pete Collins. Dr. Helen Murphy moved her medical equipment to the chapel, turning it into a hospital. Teachers like Mrs. Stone began helping with repairs. Even the children wanted to help. Amy Baker looked up at her mother. "Mom, I want to help too." Lisa Baker thought for a moment. "Okay, sweetie. You can help carry supplies to the people who need them." All over the ship, people were volunteering to fight. The Liberty was not a warship, but it was full of humans who would not give up. In the engine room, Pete Collins was amazed by what he saw. People who had never worked with engines before were learning fast. They were willing to risk their lives to keep the ship running. "Chief, we've got volunteers from every department," Danny Walsh reported. "What do you need us to do?" Pete looked at the damage reports. "We need to get more power to the weapons, and we need to fix the shield generators. Can we do it?" asked a volunteer. Pete smiled for the first time since the attack began. "With this many people helping, we can do anything." On the bridge, Kate Williams was working with a team of volunteers to find ways to fight back. The ship's computer, called Noel, was helping them understand the alien weapons. "Captain, I have an idea," Kate said. "The aliens are using energy weapons, but we have something they don't expect." "What's that?" Jake asked. "We have 50,000 people who are angry about missing Christmas." Jake smiled. "Tell me your plan." Admiral Vestar watched the human ship from his flagship. He expected the Liberty to surrender soon. The human ship was badly damaged, and his weapons were much stronger. "Admiral, the human ship is not responding to our demands," Commander Krellinax reported. "Then we will destroy them," Vestar said. "Prepare for the final attack." But something was happening on the human ship that the aliens didn't understand. The humans were not giving up. They were getting stronger. Kate Williams explained her plan to Captain Morrison. "The aliens think we're helpless because we're a colony ship, but we have things they don't expect us to use as weapons." "Like what?" Jake asked. "Mining equipment, construction tools, even our Christmas decorations." Kate pointed to the tactical display. "Those alien ships are fast, but they depend on their sensors to target us. If we can confuse their sensors, we can hit them." Jake nodded. "What do you need?" "I need people to help me turn our civilian equipment into weapons. And I need Pete Collins to give me more power." In the engine room, Pete Collins was performing what could only be called miracles. With the help of dozens of volunteers, he was rebuilding damaged systems while the ship was still under attack. "Chief, can you give us more power for weapons?" Danny Walsh asked. Pete looked at his displays. "I can try, but it's dangerous. If I push the engines too hard, we might lose life support." "What about the air recycling system?" asked Lisa Martinez. "Could we shut down some sections temporarily?" "That might work," Pete said. "But people in those sections would have to move to other areas." Throughout the ship, families were already moving to help each other. The Baker family had joined with 3 other families in one living area. They shared food, blankets, and hope. "Amy, can you help me carry these blankets?" Lisa Baker asked her daughter. Amy nodded. She was being very brave, even though she was scared. "Ma, are we winning?" "I think so, sweetheart. Captain Morrison is very smart, and everyone is working together." In the main hall, Father Garcia was organizing the volunteers. Hundreds of people wanted to help, but they needed to be organized properly. "Mrs. Stone, can you take a group to help with the weapons?" Father Garcia asked. Patricia Stone nodded. "I'll take the older children and some of the teachers. We're good at following instructions." "Dr. Murphy, do you have enough help in the medical center?" Dr. Helen Murphy looked tired but determined. "I could use more people. Some of the injuries are serious." "I'll send you more volunteers," Father Garcia promised. On the bridge, Kate Williams was working with the ship's computer, Noel, to develop new tactics. The computer was designed to help with navigation and life support, but it was learning to fight. "Noel, can you calculate the alien ship's movement patterns?" Kate asked. "Yes, Lieutenant Commander Williams. The enemy vessels follow predictable attack formations. I can anticipate their positions." "Good. Can you control the mining equipment remotely?" I can interface with all ship systems. The mining lasers can be reconfigured for combat use. Jake. Morrison walked through the ship, checking on his people. What he saw amazed him. Children were carrying supplies. Teachers were learning to use weapons. Grandparents were helping with repairs. Everyone was working together. Captain, Amy Baker ran up to him. My mom says I'm being helpful. Jake knelt down to talk to her. You are being very helpful, Amy. Are you scared? Amy thought for a moment. A little, but I'm also angry. These aliens ruined Christmas. That's not fair. Jake smiled. No, it's not fair, but we're going to fix that. In the Weapon Control Center, Kate Williams was testing her new ideas. The ship's mining equipment was powerful, designed to cut through asteroids. With some changes, it could damage enemy ships. Then, try targeting the lead alien ship, Kate said to Lieutenant Taylor. Ben worked the controls. It's hard to get a lock. They're moving too fast. Wait for it, Kate said. Noel, release. The chaff. The ship launched thousands of small pieces of metal into space, but these weren't ordinary pieces of metal. They were Christmas decorations, specially prepared by the volunteers. Tinsel, ornaments, and lights spread out in a glittering cloud. Alien sensors couldn't tell the difference between the decorations and real threats. Their targeting systems became confused. Now, Kate shouted. The mining laser fired, hitting one of the alien ships. The enemy vessel's shields flickered and went down. We got one. Ben Taylor shouted dot on the alien flagship. Admiral Vextar was confused and angry. How did they hit us? What is that debris? Admiral, our sensors are detecting thousands of small objects, Commander Krelanax reported. They appear to be decorative items. Decorative items? Vextar couldn't believe it. They're using their holiday decorations as weapons? It appears so, Admiral. Our targeting systems can't distinguish between the decorations and real threats. Back on the Liberty, Pete Collins was ready to try something very dangerous. He was going to overload the ship's main power core to create a massive electromagnetic pulse. Chief, are you sure about this? Danny Walsh asked. No, I'm not sure, Pete said. But if it works, it will disable half the alien fleet. If it doesn't, work will probably die. What are the chances it will work? Asked Lisa Martinez. Pete smiled grimly. About 50%. But that's better odds than we had an hour ago. The volunteers in the engine room worked together to prepare for Pete's plan. They rerouted power cables and installed emergency backups. Everyone knew the risk, but they were willing to try. All right, everyone, Pete said. When I give the signal, we overload the core. It's going to be loud, and it's going to be scary. But don't panic. Just do your jobs. On the bridge, Jake Morrison watched as more alien ships fell to their improvised weapons. The humans were fighting with everything they had. Families that had been celebrating Christmas an hour ago were now working together to defend their ship. Captain, we're ready for the electromagnetic pulse, Kate reported. Will it work? Jake asked. Pete says it has a 50% chance, Kate said. But it's our best shot at evening the odds. Jake looked at the tactical display. The Liberty was still outnumbered, but they were fighting back. The aliens had expected an easy victory, but they were learning that humans don't give up easily. Do it, Jake said dot in the engine room. Pete Collins took a deep breath. This is for all the children who won't get to open their Christmas presents. If we fail, he said. Then he pushed the button. The Liberty's power core overloaded in a carefully controlled explosion. Energy poured out of the ship in all directions. The electromagnetic pulse spread through space like a wave. Half of the alien ships lost power immediately. Their engines stopped working. Their weapons went silent. Their shields collapsed. It worked. Danny Walsh shouted, but the pulse had cost them. Pete Collins collapsed, badly hurt by the electrical discharge. Dr. Murphy and her team rushed to help him. Will he be okay? Danny asked. He'll live, Dr. Murphy said, but he's going to be in bed for a while. Admiral Vexstar watched in horror as half his fleet went dead in space. The humans had used their own ship as a weapon. It was impossible, but it had happened. Admiral, we're receiving reports from the disabled ships, Commander Krellinak said. They're all dead in space. It will take hours to restart their systems. Vexstar felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. These humans were not weak. They were not primitive. They were dangerous. Order all remaining ships to attack with everything they have, Vexstar commanded. Destroy that ship now. But on the Liberty, the humans were just getting started. They had learned something important. When they worked together, they could do anything. Even defeat a fleet of alien warships. Captain Morrison looked at his crew. They were tired, scared, and hurt. But they were not defeated. They were angry, and they were fighting for their families. Kate, what's our next move? He asked. Kate Williams smiled. We're going to show these aliens what Christmas spirit really means. With half the alien fleet disabled, the Liberty had a fighting chance. But 15 enemy ships were still active, and they were angry. Admiral Vexstar ordered his remaining vessels to attack with everything they had. Captain Morrison knew this was their moment. All sections, this is the captain. We've hurt them, but they're not finished. Now we show them what humans can really do. In the fabrication bays, an amazing transformation was taking place. Mrs. Patricia Stone was leading a team of teachers and students in converting the ship's industrial equipment into weapons. The 3D printers that usually made tools and spare parts were now creating explosive devices. Mrs. Stone, I've never seen anything like this, said her student, Kevin Murphy. He was only 15, but he was good with machines. That's because we're writing the book as we go, Patricia replied. Hand me that chemistry set from the school lab. Dr. Helen Murphy had converted the chapel into a field hospital, but she was also helping with the weapons. Her medical knowledge helped her understand how to make explosives that would be most effective against the alien ships. The aliens seemed to have a weakness in their hull design, she explained to the volunteer weapons team. If we can hit them in the right spot, we can cause major damage. In the hydroponics bay, Tony Baker was leading a team to convert the food-growing systems into mass drivers. The machines that planted seeds could be used to launch projectiles at high speed. Dad, this is so cool, Amy Baker said. She was helping load the improvised ammunition. Amy, you should be in the shelter, Tony said. No way, Amy replied. These aliens ruined Christmas. I want to help fight them. Lisa Baker was proud of her daughter's courage, but she was also worried. Tony, is this safe? Nothing about this is safe, Tony said. But it's what we have to do. The ship's computer, Noel, was learning to fight alongside the humans. It coordinated attacks, calculated trajectories, and managed the ship's systems more efficiently than ever before. Noel, can you target the alien command ship? Kate Williams asked. Yes, Lieutenant Commander. I have identified the vessel with the strongest energy signature. It appears to be their flagship. Perfect. Let's give their admiral a Christmas present he'll never forget. On the bridge, Jake Morrison watched his people work together in ways he had never imagined. Children were carrying supplies. Elderly people were operating weapons. Families were fighting side by side. Captain, we're ready for the next phase, Kate reported. What's the plan? Jake asked. Kate smiled. We're going to use everything we've got. The hydroponics mass drivers, the converted mining equipment, the explosive devices from the fabrication bays. and we're going to coordinate it all at once. Lieutenant Ben Taylor was working with a team of teenagers who knew more about computers than most adults. They were using the ship's communication system to try to hack into the alien networks. "Ben, I think we're getting somewhere," said 16-year-old Sarah Davis. "Their computer systems are more advanced than ours, but they're not expecting us to attack them electronically." "Can you disrupt their communications?" Ben asked. "Maybe. Give me a few more minutes." In the engine room, Danny Walsh was now in charge since Pete Collins was injured. He was young, but he had learned from the best. The volunteers were helping him keep the ship running while providing power for all the new weapons. "Danny, we need more power for the mass drivers," called Lisa Martinez. "I'm working on it," Danny replied. "But we're already running at maximum capacity. What if we shut down some of the non-essential systems?" Good idea. Shut down the recreation areas, the extra lighting, and the temperature control in the empty cargo bays. Throughout the ship, people were making sacrifices to help the war effort. Families were sharing smaller living spaces. People were eating less food to save power. Everyone was doing their part. Father Garcia was moving through the ship, providing comfort and encouragement to everyone. He had never been in a battle before, but he knew how to help people find strength in difficult times. "Father, are we going to win?" asked Mrs. Johnson, an elderly woman who was helping with supplies. "I believe we are," Father Garcia said. "Not because we're stronger than the aliens, but because we're fighting for something more important than ourselves." Admiral Vextar was becoming desperate. His fleet was supposed to be the most powerful in the galaxy, but these humans were fighting back with incredible determination. "Admiral, we're losing ships," Commander Krellanax reported. "The humans are using weapons we don't understand." "How can they be using weapons we don't understand?" Vextar demanded. "They're just a colony ship." "They're improvising, Admiral. They're turning civilian equipment into military weapons. Our tactical computers can't predict their actions because they're not following any known combat doctrine." Vextar looked at the tactical display. The human ship was still heavily damaged, but it was fighting more effectively than many military vessels he had faced. What kind of species fights harder when they're threatened? He wondered aloud. "I don't know, Admiral," Krellanax said, "but we're learning that humans are not what we expected." On the Liberty, the final attack was ready. Every weapon system, every improvised device, every person on the ship was focused on one goal: defending their families and their home. "All weapons ready, Captain," Kate Williams reported. Jake Morrison looked around the bridge. His crew was exhausted, but they were determined. They had come so far together. "This is for Pete Collins, who gave everything to protect us," Jake said. "This is for all the children who just want to wake up on Christmas morning. This is for everyone who believes that some things are worth fighting for." He paused, thinking about the aliens who had attacked them without warning. "Fire everything we have." The Liberty unleashed everything at once. Mining lasers, mass drivers, explosive projectiles, and electronic warfare attacks all hit the alien fleet simultaneously. The coordination was perfect, thanks to Noel and the hundreds of volunteers working together. 3 alien ships exploded immediately. 2 more lost power and drifted helplessly through space. The others were damaged and trying to retreat. "We're winning," Amy Baker shouted from her post in the supply center. But Admiral Vextar was not finished. His flagship was still functional, and he was filled with rage. He had never been defeated by what he considered an inferior species. "All remaining ships ram the human vessel," he ordered. "If we can't defeat them with weapons, we'll destroy them with our ships." "Admiral, that would be suicide," Commander Krellanax protested. "Better to die fighting than to live with this shame," Vextar replied. The remaining alien ships turned toward the Liberty, preparing for a final desperate attack. But the humans were ready for them. "Captain, they're coming straight at us," Kate Williams reported. Jake Morrison stood up. "All hands, prepare for collision. This is it, people. Everything we've worked for comes down to the next few minutes." On the alien flagship, Admiral Vextar prepared to ram the human ship. But as he looked at the Liberty, he saw something that made him pause. The human ship was badly damaged, but it was still fighting. The people inside were still working together, still protecting each other. For the first time in his life, Vextar felt respect for his enemy. These humans were not weak. They were incredibly strong. They had turned their love for their families into a weapon more powerful than anything he had ever seen. "Commander Krellinax," he said quietly, "send a message to the human ship." "What message, Admiral?" Vextar looked at the tactical display one more time. Half his fleet was gone, destroyed by people who had been celebrating a holiday just hours before. The humans had fought with courage, intelligence, and determination that he had never encountered. "Tell them ... double quotes he began, and stopped. What could he say? That he was sorry? That he had made a terrible mistake? Had he finally understood what it meant to fight for something bigger than yourself? The Liberty was waiting for the final attack. But Admiral Vextar was learning that some battles cannot be won, no matter how many ships you have. Some enemies are too strong because they fight for love, not conquest. The fate of both fleets hung in the balance as Christmas Day approached. Admiral Vextar stared at the human ship on his screen. The Liberty was damaged and surrounded, but it was still fighting. The humans inside were still working together, still protecting their families. In all his years of war, he had never seen anything like it. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Commander Krellinax asked. Vextar was quiet for a long moment. His remaining ships were ready to ram the human vessel, but something had changed inside him. He was beginning to understand what he was really fighting. "Stand down," he said quietly. "Admiral?" "I said stand down. Order all ships to stop there." "Attack!" Commander Krellinax couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Admiral, we can still destroy them." "No," Vextar said. "We cannot. Look at them, Krellinax. Really look at them. They are not soldiers, yet they fight better than our best warriors. They are not a military ship, yet they have defeated most of our fleet. Do you know why?" Krellinax shook his head. "Because they are. Not fighting for conquest or glory. They are fighting for their children, for their families, for their most sacred traditions. We attacked them on their most holy day, and we have awakened something in them that we cannot defeat." On the Liberty, Captain Morrison watched in surprise as the alien ships stopped their attack. The enemy vessels were still there, but they were no longer firing. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship," Lieutenant Ben Taylor reported. "Put it on screen," Jake said. Admiral Vextar appeared on the main screen, but he looked different now. The cruel confidence was gone. He looked tired and somehow smaller. "Human Captain," Vextar said, "I am Admiral Vextar of the Zephyrian Dominion. I have come to ... to offer terms." Jake Morrison stood up straight. "What kind of terms?" "We will withdraw from this system. We will not attack your ship again. In return, you will allow my surviving vessels to leave." "That's it?" Jake asked. "You attack us without warning, try to kill our families, and now you just want to leave?" Vextar was quiet for a moment. "Captain, I have been a soldier for 40 years. I have fought in dozens of battles across the galaxy. I have seen many species surrender when they were outnumbered, but I have never seen a people fight the way you fight." He paused, looking around his own bridge. "You have taught me something. Today, you have shown me that there are things more powerful than weapons or numbers. You fight for love, for family, for traditions that make life worth living. We fight for territory and resources. That is why you have won, and we have lost." Jake Morrison looked around his bridge. His crew was exhausted, but they were listening carefully. This was not what any of them had expected. "Admiral, you killed innocent people today," Jake said. "You attacked us on Christmas Eve when our families were celebrating together. Why should we trust you now?" "You should not trust me," Vextar said honestly. "But I am asking you to show mercy. Something we did not show you." Kate Williams stepped forward. "Captain, we could finish them now. Our weapons are still working." Jake thought about it. "They could destroy the remaining alien ships." "It would. Be justice for the people who had died defending the Liberty." But as he thought about it, he heard something in the background. Dotted was singing. Somewhere on the ship, people were singing Christmas carols again. Children's voices mixed with adult voices, creating something beautiful even in the middle of Va. "A battle. Admiral Vextar," Jake said finally. "You can leave, but you will take a message back to your people." "What message?" Vextar asked. "You will tell them that humans are not weak because we love our families. We are strong because of that love. You will tell them that if they ever attack innocent people again, they will face the same thing you face today." Vextar nodded slowly. "I will carry that message, Captain, and I will make sure my people understand it." The alien ships began to withdraw. One by one, they disappeared into the darkness of space. The Liberty was alone again, but it was still alive. As soon as the aliens were gone, the celebration began. People poured out of their emergency stations and hugged each other. Children ran through the corridors, laughing and crying at the same time. Amy Baker found Captain Morrison in the main corridor. "Captain, we won. We really won." Jake knelt down to talk to her. "Yes, we did. Are you okay?" "I'm great," Amy said. "But I'm sad too. We missed midnight mass." Jake looked at his watch. It was 3:17 in the morning, ship time. Christmas Day had already begun. "Amy, I think we can still have Christmas." "What do you think?" Amy's face lit up. "Really?" "Even though the aliens tried to ruin it." "Especially because the aliens tried to ruin it," Jake said. "We fought to protect Christmas. Now we should celebrate it." Within an hour, the main hall was full of people again. Father Garcia led a special Christmas service, thanking God for their survival and remembering the people who had died defending the ship. Mrs. Patricia Stone organized the children's choir, and they sang all the Christmas songs they had practiced. Their voices were even more beautiful now, because they had been through something terrible together and survived. Pete Collins was awake in the medical center, weak but smiling. Dr. Helen Murphy let him listen to the Christmas service over the communication system. "Chief, you saved us all," Danny Walsh said, sitting beside his mentor's bed. "We all saved each other," Pete replied. "That's what humans do." In the engine room, the volunteers who had worked so hard were finally able to rest. But many of them stayed to help with repairs. They had learned that they were capable of more than they ever imagined. Tony Baker found his wife and daughter in the main hall. They hugged each other tightly, grateful to be alive and together. "Dad, this was the best Christmas ever," Amy said. "How can you say that?" Lisa asked. "We were almost killed." Amy thought for a moment. "Because we learned that we're stronger than we thought. And because everyone worked together to protect each other. That's what Christmas is really about, right?" Tony and Lisa looked at their wise 8-year-old daughter and realized she was right. Throughout the ship, families were having similar conversations. They had been through something terrible, but they had also discovered something wonderful about themselves and each other. Captain Morrison made one final announcement to the ship. "This is the captain. I want to thank everyone for what you did today. You prove that ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they fight for what they believe in. You showed that love and family are not weaknesses, but the greatest strengths we have." He paused, looking out at the stars. "We still have 6 months before we reach our new home. But I know now that we will make it. Not because we have the best technology or the strongest weapons, but because we have each other." Months later, when the Liberty finally reached the planet that would become their new home, the first thing they built was a memorial for the people who had died on Christmas Eve. But they also built something else, a monument to the victory. They had won together. They named their new settlement Noah's Landing, after their ship's computer that had helped them fight. But everyone knew it was really named after the Christmas spirit that had carried them through their darkest hour. Amy Baker grew up to become the settlement's first elected leader. When her own children asked her about the Battle of Christmas Eve, she would tell them the story of how their grandparents and the other colonists had learned that the human spirit, when united by love and hope, was the most powerful force in the universe. Years later, when other alien species heard the story of the Liberty, they learned the same lesson that Admiral Vextar had learned. Humans were not to be underestimated, not because they were the strongest or the smartest, but because they would fight to the end for the people and things they loved. And every Christmas Eve, the people of Noah's Landing would gather together and sing the same songs that had given them courage during the battle. They would remember that Christmas was not just about presents and decorations, but about the love that makes people willing to sacrifice everything for each other. The story of the Liberty became legend throughout human space. It was a reminder that no matter how dark things seemed, no matter how impossible the odds, humans would always find a way to protect what mattered most. And somewhere in the galaxy, Admiral Vestar kept his promise. He told other alien species about the humans who had turned love into a weapon, tradition into strength, and Christmas spirit into victory. He made sure they understood that attacking humans was not just dangerous, it was foolish, because humans, he learned, became most dangerous when someone tried to take away their reasons for living. The Liberty had taught the galaxy that some things were worth fighting for, and that the human spirit, especially at Christmas, was truly unbreakable.